Hey guys, welcome back to the 44-day challenge. I'm Scott Duke. We're inside the Wellstand studio. Today is day 34 of reviewing a book on how to sell a business and getting the information out to you where it can be put to best use. Today we're reviewing Common Sense Business Selling, how to position and sell your business for the top dollar. Okay, so the whole point of the 44-day challenge is to get information out to you guys so that when you go to sell your business, you're going to be successful. And there's two parts of this, okay? This is the pie chart of businesses, the totality of businesses, okay? This is everybody that's got a business in the marketplace. And then this is the slice of pie, 20%, that are actually going to sell their company. Everybody else out here is either going to close down or fail in the sale, go bankrupt, whatever it might be. There's lots of ways out, unfortunately, that aren't selling. But what we're trying to do, of course, is get you inside this 20%. Now, some of the information we're putting out is just to get you in the 20%. Just get there, because that's the number one step. Get to the point where you're even sellable, right? And then some of these videos are, once you're in there, then how do we get you in this sliver, this 5% sliver, that sells for what they want to sell for, but more importantly, more than their company, the highest possible sale price. And you can't sell for more than you're worth. You got to have a win-win situation. But we want to sell your company for as much as we possibly can, right? So that's what this video today is a little bit about. And that was the point of this author's interview, was how do you get to that point where you sell your company for absolute maximum value? And a couple things came out of this book that are going to help us with that. And I'm going to share them with you right now. So know your industry statistics and beat them, okay? So if a buyer's coming and they want to buy in a specific industry and they're looking at multiple options, because remember that you aren't the only business for sale in the marketplace, so they're looking at comparables, you want to make sure that when they look at you, you're outperforming all the other options in the marketplace, especially in your industry. So where do you find your industry stats, okay? These are the sites we use. There's many sites you can go to, but check these out. Peercomps.com. So this is comparatives of businesses that have sold that have gotten SBA financing. So if your business you think is going to need financing, this is a great place to go. Business Reference Guide. This is a totality. It's just a combination of tons of information. Like Auto Body Shop, the last one I was looking up. There was 180,000 other comparables. Tons of data here, right? So businessrg.com. If you're in Canada, where we are, you can go to the BDC site and go into their performance calculator. So they take all the businesses in Canada. They actually got the information off Canada Revenue Agency, and you can put your metrics in there, and it'll compare you to your other people in your industry, and it pumps the data out. The world is a wonderful place right now. It doesn't need a whole lot of searching to get this stuff. This is all done through Google searches. Then once you have this data, go and beat them. That's what this guy's saying, and why the heck not, right? So figure out where you're lagging, figure out where you're performing. You know, you can promote where you're performing, figure out where you're lagging. Maybe your employee costs are too high. Maybe your cost of goods sold are too high. You're a retail store, you're not making enough per square foot, whatever it might be. You need to know what your industry is doing, and then you can maximize and you can improve. All right, so that's number one out of this book. I think this is a great exercise regardless. Every business owner should do it. Then the next one is think about equity as much as profit. There's actually a quote in the book that I think is the best way to get this done, to get it across to you guys. So the Kindle, I'm actually loving this, the Kindle app. He says, can you describe the difference between income and equity? He says, yes, massive difference. Most business people, when they're in the shower in the morning, they think about income. They think about how they're going to generate revenue that day, that week, that month, and that year to pay themselves, to pay their staff, and that's fine. That's income. But what they really should be thinking about, and what completely differentiates a good business from a great business, is they should always be thinking not only about income, but also about equity. This is great advice. Of course you want income in your company, but he's saying the difference between the goods and the greats is the greats are the ones that are thinking about equity. How much equity am I building in my company today for when I sell it tomorrow, right? And building equity is all about doing all this stuff we've talked about in the 44 days to make your company better, because that's padding, that equity, so that when you sell, you're going to get some more out of your company, right? So anyway, think about your equity. And the last one is don't dream, plug the weaknesses. And the quote that he uses is, again, this was from an interview. So the interviewee asked, I'm going to be able to find this, who do you not want to work with and who should not even bother contacting you? And this, again, the person he's interviewing is a consultant, helps people sell their companies, also has sold multiple companies on their own and created extra value in those companies before they go to sell. And he says he doesn't want to work with dreamers, okay? We analyze their business, we do a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. When he's ready to go to market, I put the buyer hat on and I really analyze in great detail the business and particularly focus not necessarily on the strengths, but focusing on the weaknesses. So then we're going to the market, there's a story on the weaknesses and the gap is plugged. So the deal is, and I've talked about this before in these videos, but hopefully if you're following us through this process of the 44 days, you'll start to see this repetition going on, right? And that's a good thing because the repetition it'll sink in a little bit deeper and you'll remember what these things that you need to do. If you're gonna sit there and just dream that someone's gonna come along and buy your company, this guy doesn't want to work with you, we probably don't want to work with you, and your buyer's not going to want to work with you because they want to work in reality, right? So yeah, for sure, you definitely want to set some goals for selling your companies, and it may be a dream. But to reach that reality, you got to plug the weaknesses. You got to be really, really focused on what needs to be improved in your company and what's going to deter that buyer, that potential buyer, from actually closing a deal with you. And then you need to either fix it or you need to make a story around it so that so you fill what he calls the gaps. You fill those weaknesses. You're either going to fix or you're going to create a story as to why it's there. And that story can't be just out of the blue fictional. It needs to be from hard facts that why it's there. And maybe that future buyer can then fix it. But you fix what you can and you explain what you can't. All right, that's boom. That came out of day 34. Not too bad. Some good information, guys. So I hope to see you again on day 35 when we review another book and get more great information out to you where it can be best utilized. I'm Scott Duke. This is the WellStand Group. Follow us on all our social channels, and we'll see you again tomorrow.